last week in the chamber, John Swinney, following a question from me, said that the 33 million from the BU funding that he deferred when he was Finance Secretary would be returned to the agricultural rural budget. He didn't give a timescale. He said in future years. Now, we know what Shona Robison, the Finance Secretary, said on Thursday with regards to the financial black hole and the pressures facing Scotland in terms of taxation, so cutting spending or increasing taxation. What do you have a timeline that 33 million will be returned by?
I don't have that definitive timeline yet, but I will, of course, be continuing discussions with the Deputy First Minister as to when that would be returned to the portfolio. But I think I just want to be absolutely clear as well that that money is ring-fenced. It has to come back to the portfolio. It can't be spent in other areas. So it will be returned to the portfolio, but it's the details on the timeline that are still to be determined.
Just for clarity, because I don't know where this money goes. Has it been allocated to something else but needs to be found again? I don't suppose you'd know that the answer, but it looks to me as though if it's sitting somewhere, it can just come back. But has it been used and it needs to be found and returned?
Yeah, I'll hand over to George who can explain more of the detail in relation to that.
The removal of that money from the RAI portfolio allowed the Scottish Government overall to reduce its spending and achieve a balanced budget. So it's not like the money is sort of sitting in a bank account somewhere, but we have the commitment already expressed by the previous Deputy First Minister and again by the current Deputy First Minister that ring-fence money will return to the portfolio in a future year. Now, our central finance colleagues will have the difficult job to find that within the overall Scottish Government budget to make sure that it comes into the portfolio. Of course, as we've already said, we have no certainty over the funding from the UK beyond 2 years out. So we might come to a point, not very far down the line, where we really, really need that money to come back in to plug a much larger hole.
Okay. That was in a previous financial year, though, so that can't be related.
When is ring-fenced not ring-fenced? Because if you've taken 33 million out of a ring-fenced budget, surely it's not ring-fenced.
It helps us, again, as George outlined, I mean, it helps, it's almost like a loan going back to the centre. I don't know, if that's the most adequate way to describe it, which must be returned in future years.
So it's not really ring-fenced?
It is ring-fenced.
It's just not in the budget anymore.
It's different from any other Scottish Government funding which could move from health to education to transport. This money is allocated for agricultural purposes. It can only be spent on agricultural purposes. But it
wasn't. It was taken out the agriculture budget and spent on something else.
It will come back.
Yeah, but it was, wasn't it? The 33 million was taken out of the budget to be spent on something else.
It was taken out of the budget. It wasn't spent. As I was trying to explain earlier, it allowed the overall spending of the Scottish Government to be reduced to hit the limits.
So it was used for something other than the agricultural budget, which would suggest it wasn't ring-fenced.
It was offered as a saving. It wasn't spent in another area. I think that's what George is trying to make clear.
It's not very clear. Can I ask?
I'd be happy to follow up with more information and to detail that if that's helpful. But it wasn't spent in any other areas. It was offered as a saving.
It was just not in the agricultural budget, even though it was ring-fenced.